We live in a society where a lot of modern men are weak and live lives they're not proud of. A lot of us wear a mask with a smile on our face to hide the fact that we're not happy. See what I did there? The point is that a lot of people hide their true selves in the fear of being cast out of society or not being accepted. Through doing this, their repressed emotions grow darker and darker. The Mask portrays this message perfectly, and there's no better time to look at what's hidden in the message of this movie than now. The Mask shows us the effects of living as a weak, timid man through the story of Stanley Ipkiss, an insecure bank clerk that, just like a lot of people, faces a lot of issues in his life. Stanley is constantly ridiculed because of his weak nature, and this sparks negative emotion within him. The lives of modern men are very similar today, with the rise of weaker, more fearful men that are put down by the masses. Society empowers women by bringing down men, and it makes them feel guilty for their masculinity. They become more feminine and don't strive for anything higher than what they already have in their lives. Eventually, the constant ridiculing and attacks to masculinity makes men feel bitter towards society. These are the exact emotions present within Stanley as he makes attempts to live and have a normal life. One day his car breaks down near a bridge, and this is where he discovers the mask when he tries to save what he thinks is a person in the water close to where his car broke down. He takes the mask home and discovers its powers. Stanley realizes that the mask gives him the strength he's been lacking all along. The mask represents the masculinity that's been lurking within Stanley. It's just the thing he's been missing. Just like Stanley, a lot of us in the modern day need something to find strength in. We need to be empowered and strengthened. This empowerment could be discovered through self-improvement. When men decide to break free from the beliefs imposed to them by society and actually become stronger, more masculine men, they can discover a unique strength that's hard to take away. The Mask also shows us the effects of having repressed emotions as a man. The more you bottle your emotions and hold grudges against society, the darker your thoughts become and the more violent you are. When Stanley discovered his newfound power in the mask, he finally let all his repressed emotions out. He took on the form he's been imagining himself in all along. He remembers everyone who's made his life harder and gives them payback for what is felt. Stanley uses the mask to punish everyone who's hurt him, and all the repressed emotions manifest themselves through his actions. When someone bottles their emotions for that long, it ends up having a negative effect on their mind. In today's society, we see a lot of men incite violence into society and do things because of how much hatred they've built up in their lives. You're not supposed to do this. When you put more chaos into the world, more chaos follows you. The more negativity you feed into society, the worse the world becomes. That's one of the reasons why the world has become so divided and how things have gotten so bad. In the mask, Stanley punishes those who once hurt him and uses the mask to rob a bank in an attempt to see the performance of Tina, a singer and love interest of his. It shows how little it takes to throw an unstable, weak man out of balance. All morals fall to the side when your emotions cloud your judgment. The movie also touches on authenticity, something a lot of us in the modern day lack. We fail to be ourselves due to how much fear we have of not being accepted. All over social media, we see people who are doing way better than us and we want to look just as good, so we fake everything even in our real lives. It's kinda sad if you think about it, because this means we disconnect from our true selves and distance ourselves from real relationships. In the movie, Stanley uses the mask to pursue Tina and his attempts succeed. He ends up dancing with her and she kisses him. Stanley uses a filtered, more perfect looking version of himself to try to pursue his love interest, and even though it works, the involvement of the mask complicates their relationship due to the issues the mask causes and the trouble Stanley faces as he wears it. In the end, Tina discovers Stanley's true self and she tells him that he didn't need the mask. This is an essential sentence as it shows how you don't really need to mask yourself. You don't need to pretend you're something you're not, because it complicates life, and even if you get accepted with the mask, you're not as happy as you would be being authentic. The main takeaway from this movie is to stop hiding your true self, to stop locking your emotions away, never to be seen again. This movie tells us that we should take off the mask and live as our imperfect selves, because living life as an angry, false person doesn't make you happy. The best way to live your life is by being your most unfiltered true self, even if it's flawed. Plus, you can always improve and grow as time goes by. Speaking of growing, help me get to 100 subscribers by subscribing to the channel and liking the video. I appreciate all the support and feedback coming from y'all, so thank you, and as always, do it different.